Howdy, howdy. Day 46, right to it. My ground up of self-love. Workbook for the generational curse breaker. Okay. It's Saturday. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm so grateful that you're spending this little couple of seconds with me. But anyways, if you are checking in or tapping into this video, it's because you are the generational curse breaker in your lineage of your bloodline. You have been chosen to break limiting patterns, belief cycles, and thought processes, again, those curses, and trade those in for generational wealth, right, by reprogramming your mind. So that's really what you're doing here. If I'm your people, you're my people, be sure to like this video, save it, and engage if you know what I'm saying, you're really down for it or whatever, but also follow so you don't miss another day. Okay. And if today's read resonates with you, be sure to click the link in my bio and grab yours so we can do the work together. But let's go ahead and get into today's message because it's Saturday night. And I do appreciate you spending your time with me, but I'm sure that there's something else you probably want to get into. Okay. But let's talk about it. So, sham, there we go. Page, what is that? 231 and 220. Those are two. Okay, 2. Okay, 221 and 220. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take the right side since yesterday we read from the left, and let's see what chapter we're in. I do see that we're talking about God's favor, getting us into rooms that, let's see, that you can dream of and that no man can shut, right? But we're going to go for the right side. Let's see what chapter. And it looks like we are back in the throat chakra. All right, so you shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. This one is very familiar to us. So yeah, we love the throat chakra. It seems the throat chakra loves us. If you have not been speaking your truth, obviously this is your sign to do so, because God is loud. God is like, baby, why are you sitting on that wisdom? And I did have a little bit of conversation, not a little bit, actually a lot of conversation today with a particular community member who, you know, we were just speaking about our truth and how to really step into that boldly, right? Ownership and self-worth, and say valuing your experiences for you to be able to walk into that, you know, authentically, and, you know, really, like I said, owning it. Because I feel like, if anything, the way that the enemy steals our gifts and our blessings from us is by getting us to feel shameful for our experiences. And so because you feel shame surrounding that thing, you won't talk about it. You won't bring it up because of the way people you feel will perceive you. And, you know, I used to be the same way, you know what I'm saying? Like, just kind of afraid to share some things, or just share in general, because, like I said, you fear people's judgment of you. And that is exactly how the enemy gets you stuck and steals your blessings from you, because you never know who needs to hear that. You never know who could be set free from your testimony. So yeah, your sign, speak the truth, your truth, own it. All right, now let's go ahead and get into the read. So we're going to take the second paragraph, which is really the first paragraph, since the other one is just a continuation. And you can take a screenshot if you'd like. Like I said, also click the link so you can grab yours. But let's get on with it. It says, frankly, we learn more about ourself, or the self, during times of trial and tribulation than when we are on the mountaintop. It's all about the buildup. It's our losses that support the development of our character, while our wins could reveal our pride. God corrects his children. His connection is his protection. His correction is his protection. If we are mature enough, we could later see the experience is supposed to teach us a lesson and better equip us for the soul's journey. Holding on to resentment indicates you took the hardship personally instead of seeing it as God's preparation. Or worse, you haven't taken responsibility for your shortcomings. Making peace with the past leads us back to alignment. We'll need to accept what is to receive. Yeah, that's so in alignment with what I was speaking about today between, like I said, another community member, because there was one point in time where, you know, I really didn't know my anointing, or even, you know, that I didn't know that I had the juice, I don't know, let's use that, right? You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that I was that girl. I didn't know these things until I started paying attention to how people responded to my life experiences and just who I was, right? And, you know, obviously sometimes people may downplay that, and then you have other people who are inspired by it, and they're like, you know, hey girl, that's gold, you know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, there are other times people are just really indifferent to it. But ultimately, those times I remember feeling like a victim. I'll be honest, like I felt victimized by my own self, not by others. And it was always what people have done to me, and, you know, how this hurt me and who did this to me. I hadn't really taken responsibility or accountability for my place, or excuse me, for my role in those situations. And so everybody else had my power, which was another reason why I would feel shame surrounding those things, right? And so I recall having a conversation with two girls or whatever, and I was just expressing to them, this was right after I had, actually, I was about to move to LA. I was kind of in the interim of doing so, and I was just speaking about how I had really cut off all my friendships or whatever because I had started seeing... and I just heard Leviathan, no lie. I had started seeing things, right? This is when God really started opening my eyes and say awareness, right? And so I was able to see myself, and also, I was able to see more of others and less of myself at this point, right? So I just remember having this conversation, and I was just telling them like, girl, no, I don't talk to anybody. You know what I'm saying? I pretty much cut everybody off because, you know, I felt like this and they were doing this, and I peeped this and I peeped that. And, they were like, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying? You can't always be the victim, right? Now, that stuck with me, right? Like, even then, I know God used that person in that moment, whether they were saying that to, you know, be malicious. It doesn't matter about people's intent, you know what I'm saying? Because whatever. God will use even the enemy to sharpen your sword. God will use the enemy's weapon to sharpen yours. So while even that small snippet of that, them saying that, it stuck with me. And it made me really like sit with myself like, well, damn, you know what? You're right. You know what I'm saying? Because even in those situations, maybe it wasn't that time or it wasn't that time, but in some way or another, whether I dimmed my light, whether I played into it, whether I didn't speak up for myself, whether I overlooked something, whatever the case may be, I was still participating. I was still a willing participant at that time, although unconscious, right? And so I had to take responsibility for that. And once I did, I felt so much more powerful because, you know, people can only do what you allow them to. Now, here's what I will say. Is because one thing that God has revealed to me as well, you know what I'm saying? Those very people who could feel like they, you know, they're revealing something to you, though their intent may not be the best for you, right? I think that to some degree, they may turn around and regret that they ever said that thing because it opened your eyes. So sometimes people will say things, to dig at you, and whole time all it did was open your eyes. I'm gonna leave that there. All right. Click the link, buy yours so we can do it together. I love you.